People like to call our willingness to have open borders, let's say, progressive. But in fact, it's exactly the opposite. It can cause regression. It can cause a society to become concerned about criticizing certain ideas, a society to become more fearful, more violent, because more and more people within that society refuse to allow criticism. Great Britain has a long-standing tradition of criticism, of people standing literally on soapboxes, in Speaker's Corner, in Hyde Park, standing up and delivering speeches to anyone who will listen. And it wouldn't matter how crazy these ideas sound, it wouldn't matter how ridiculous these ideas sound, people were willing to listen and have always been willing to listen. But now we know that if you were to stand on one of those soapboxes in Hyde Park, in Speaker's Corner, there would be certain things that you could say that could cause you to be murdered in London. We know this. We saw this recently in France, that there are certain ideas that you can espouse in France which will cause you to be killed. This is wrong. Now, it is not due to the sheer number of people immigrating into France. That's not the issue. It's because a certain kind of idea has been allowed to come across those borders in greater and greater numbers. And it's the ideas that we have to stop. And once they're there, and they're there now, they have to be countered. They have to be changed. These people that hold these ideas are a danger to that society. They're not a danger to the static societies from which they came, or the static societies where those ideas are promoted, where those ideas maintain the stasis of those static societies. They're not a danger there. And that's why they would be better suited in those static societies. And if they change their minds and think that it's fine to criticize everything, then they've taken on board the most important element of being in a society like ours. The willingness to criticize any idea at all, and the willingness to have any of your ideas criticized at all. But so long as they hold on to an idea that says you cannot criticize X, where X is anything at all, then they need to remain in a static society, because that is the key feature of a static society. And it wouldn't matter if there were 2 of those people or 2 million of those people. It's too many. On the other hand, if the person believes that anything can be said, more or less, within reason, we know what we're talking about when we talk about free speech, that if you are able to criticize, it's the key feature of free speech, by the way. Free speech means you're free to criticize anything at all. Okay? I think that's missed a lot in the free speech debate as well. It's like, should you be allowed to yell fire in a crowded theatre? Okay? Yes, if the theatre is on fire. Should you be allowed to call for violence? Okay. These things are edge case concerns about free speech. Really what we're interested in is, should you be allowed to criticize anything at all? That's the key part. Should you be allowed to criticize any religion at all? Now, if the answer to that at any point is no, that idea has no place in a society which is governed by a tradition of criticism, because the tradition of criticism is about criticizing anything that you like. And the reason for this is it enables faster and faster progress. The only way to identify flaws and failures, deficiencies in ideas, the ways in which we can improve things, is via criticism, and then finding out where the problems are so that we can then create new solutions.